Next thing you know, all I heard was heavy breathing. A breathing you could not mistake for anyone else's. A breathing so powerful that it sent me into a state of shock. It was none other than Darth Vader. When I saw him, I kid you not, I nearly broke down crying because I knew I could not handle another boss fight after what I just went through. Dathomir. A planet more dry and dead than my text messages. Here on Dathomir, I wanted to become the ruler of all living creatures. A god, if you will. Which is why I went after the biggest guy I saw in order to assert my dominance. He put up a good fight. He was even fast with his hands. But in the end, I got my bones slapped out of my body. If you don't know already, the Undead rule is if you don't succeed the first time, then you go back at it until either it's dead or a piece of hardware gets thrown across the room so hard that it shatters into pieces once it comes into contact with a wall. With the big dude now dead, I got bit by a spider, but instead of gaining the ability to shoot webs out of my ass, I instantly died from the venomous poison racing through my veins. I met a night sister who told me I was trespassing and she sent her goons after me. These two lesser men did quite a number on me, so I did what any man would do and ran away. Luckily, there was a safe point nearby, so I saved my game, ran back to where the two lads were, and got my salad tossed. During my travel, I came across this ominous man. He told me he was just studying Dathomir and that he was no threat. But he wasn't fooling me. No friendly person would wear an all-black robe unless they wanted to harm me. That ancient tomb was where the artifact Evil was talking about was located. However, I did not have the proper climbing tools to get up this wall, so it was time to go find some. Here's where the game suddenly decides to kick me in the nuts and fart on my face. You see, the Night Sister decided to resurrect all of her dead people. And well, they aren't slow, and they usually come in a pack of 3. Since I can't heal, you can only imagine how hard this must have been. I had to run past these 3 ladies, pull this wooden floor down, past these 2 other ladies, climb this wall, run along this branch, then somehow fight these women in this small area. But wait, there's a wall you can climb up, you say? Yeah, you're right, I did notice that, and I went up it, and you know what it leads to? More ladies, and even a spider at the end. This was not at all a fun situation, and I'm too embarrassed to admit how long it actually took me to do. I saw a huge flying bat across the map and thought to myself how nice it would be to get a better view of what it looks like. And just like that, as if my prayers were being answered, I got the view I was asking for. Gorgara here isn't playing any games. The ground pound he does is no joke. For a bat of his size, he can move pretty goddamn fast. This fight took me about an hour to finish, but it was an hour of just trial and error. An hour of just repeatedly seeing this screen. An hour of just useless tips from the game itself. I think the worst part about this fight is that I'm guessing I could have used the force on Gorgara when I was able to stagger him like this, but as you know I can't, so I probably missed out on a lot of good damage. There were moves in this fight that I had no chance in avoiding, such as this one. He jumps in the air and does nothing, so I'm like, oh okay. But he jumps in the air again and all of a sudden the ground explodes and I die. There was just no way in hell I could react to that in time. But with every death that came with this fight, I learned my do's and my don'ts. But before I could kill him, Gorgara left me with blue balls since all he did was simply leave the battle. Thankfully though, I stole these claws from a fellow Dathomirian and it allowed me to traverse 2 areas I thought were not possible to get to. This bat clearly must love me since it wouldn't leave me alone. It wants Cal's rod, and I'm not talking about the lightsaber. It picked me up and tried to take me away, but I stabbed his foot like crazy and took control of him. He shook me right off, but a Padawan such as myself was trained for this, which is why I missed and plummeted towards the ground, splattering my existence across the floor. I took control of the airplane once again, but this time I crashed into a huge pillar, nearly killing myself. With no other way to go, I took control of my plane and realized that its jets were malfunctioning. And just like that, it ran out of fuel and we were sent hurtling towards the floor. Since my plane was clearly destroyed, I needed to find another route to the ancient temple. Sadly, the only route available was filled with enemies at every corner. This game started to feel like a Call of Duty with the sheer amount of campers I came across. This particular one gave me a hard time since he had the high ground and was blocking my exit. I painstakingly killed every enemy you see here in order to finally have my 1v1 with this loser. With this guy dead, I retraced my steps, re-killing all the enemies I just killed and dying to said enemies once again in order to make it to the temple. Here, I relived my past. I ran very strangely, which explains why girls always laughed at me. My master told me to get to him, but I couldn't figure out how to make it to the other platform. Again, people, I'm terribly sorry that I don't realize these things sooner. I promise to get smarter. Anyways, I got to him, and that's when Order 66 commenced. This is when all the Jedi started to get executed. I of course ran for my life across this ship trying to make it to the escape pods. My master was also trying to get there, but he was actually kicking ass unlike me. Eventually though, he got overwhelmed by the gunfire trying to protect me and suffered many holes in his body. My prepubescent self got very angry and yelled at the top of my lungs, causing the enemies to slow down. Thanos died and left me with his lightsaber. This tomb was now messing with my emotions. Those emotions made me break my lightsaber, and I was now somehow even more useless than before. The Wanderer showed me his true self, a Jedi known as Taras Malicos. He's just your typical "I'm strong and the darkness is consuming me" type of villain. The Night Sister was now really bugging as she summoned all her undead sisters to come out and play. I ran back to my ship as fast as I could, so fast that it would make Usain Bolt jealous. Seer told me to go and build a new lightsaber, so we went to Illumi to do just that. Here, I got to choose which color lightsaber I would use. Now I wanted to see how the pink one would look, so I chose it, not knowing that it would permanently pick it. I was under the impression I could see how they would look on a lightsaber, but now I'm stuck with a pink one. I was put to the test since I had to fight not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 6 security droids. If this is not a form of mental abuse, then what is? Because I could barely handle just one. However, I do have a pink lightsaber, so I have to prove my worth. Even though my odds of surviving were low, I whooped ass. You know, I didn't just whoop ass, I spanked ass. I punched, slapped, and kicked ass all the way to the ATST fight. To hell with it, said the game. Let me increase the difficulty for this pink-wielding child in order to show him I'm not playing. The game spawned 2 ATSTs for me to fight. How on earth I managed to do this was beyond me. I will promise you this though, I don't show it, but this did not take me 1 try, or 2, or even 10. I got my armpits tickled an unhealthy amount of times. With my new pink lightsaber at hand, and a newly found pair of balls, I went back to Dathomir to finally claim my Astrium. Standing in the way of my mission was Malicos with his dual-wielding shafts. Now I will give credit where credit is due. Malicos gave me a run for my money. I mean, this man was throwing one lightsaber in the air and fighting me with the other one. He was even throwing rocks at me. My guy almost got the upper hand on me, but the Night Sister had a change of heart and saved me. Hell, she even helped me defeat him. My girl buried him alive, a fate much worse than anything I would have done. With Malicos now starving to death 6 feet on the ground, the Night Sister helped me reach the Astrium. I guess it was true, the key did exist. I felt I needed more help on my team, so I invited the Night Sister to be a part of it. I wasn't just going to leave her here surrounded by nothing but her dead sisters. So lady, come with us. Back to Bogano, I made my way to the tomb and inserted the key. It opened up a wall, so naturally I touched it. In it, I found my boy E.T. and all the young Force users that the Inquisitors were looking for. As I went deeper and deeper into the visions, things started to get dark. I quickly realized that this was the dark side. Kids being tortured, death, and just look at this fit. You can't get this type of drip anywhere else but here. Cal was mentally ready for this, so he didn't let it get to his head. With that out the way, I obtained the holocron. Oh, nope, not yet, since Trilla decided to show up. Hold on, give me a second. This fight ended quickly when I got a hold of Trilla's lightsaber and got to witness her past. Poor girl went through a lot, but by the time I was done with her past, she was already gone with the holocron. This was the final straw. It was time to invade the Inquisitors. I made it back to the ship, and Sierra officially bestowed the honor of being a Jedi Knight upon my name. When I tell you I was hard, I'm telling you I was metallic. The Night Sister casted a spell to make us invisible in order to pass right under the noses of the Inquisitor's radar. Now underwater, I swam my way straight into the enemy base. So words don't really do justice to the hell I went through in this ship. It's like every enemy was doubled in this base. I tried so hard to fight people one-on-one, but it was just impossible. This base was unforgiving. I had to stop playing at some point because I honestly ran out of ideas. It was just way too much. If these guys didn't kill you, then he will. And if you get past him, you have him. And if you pass him, you have these guys. Like there was just way too much stuff to deal with at once. I feel like this is the part of the game where you would go all out, using the force like crazy, freaking using all those abilities you upgraded, everything, all those fancy moves you acquired throughout the game, just to go crazy on all these Inquisitors. But nope, I sadly didn't get to experience it. Instead, I experienced a feeling similar to excruciating endless suffering. Crushing my hand with a hammer would have been less painful than this. Watching Two Girls One Cup would make me less nauseous than this fortress did to me. It honestly left such a sour taste in my mouth that this game nearly got a 1 out of 5 for being this goddamn disgusting. But you know what? I did it. I don't know how, but I did it. I made it to the room I was supposed to be in. I don't know how, but I did. I blew up parts of the ship. I did all of it. I did all of this just for me to idiotically jump into fire and restart it all again. Can you imagine the look I had on my face? I'm pretty sure in all my years of life, of breathing the air on this planet, I've never felt more stupid than right here, right when I died. I was done. I tried to run past the enemies, but as you can see here, that's impossible since they chase you anyways, leaving you with nothing but a gangbang session. I eventually did it again, but at what cost? I was already depressed, and you know what comes after this part? Another arena area. Waves upon waves upon waves of enemies just ready to test my patience. It's so disgusting just thinking about it. I get sick to my stomach that they would include this. I've been at this for such a long time that I pulled up Spotify and just started listening to music as I try to beat this part. I was mentally exhausted. Anger or excitement were no longer an emotion. I was just a mindless drone going through the motions. I literally memorized which enemies came out of which doors, so I was even spawn killing at some point. That's how bad it got. And then boom, it happened. I finished the arena, but then, yay, I beat it. I'm not gonna lie though, I was feeling really good about myself. I pushed myself really hard and really forced myself to get through this game. I thought nothing could bring me down now after the amount of enemies I had to go through, but I was wrong. The final boss in this game made me want to leak my social security online and pour hot boiling water onto my computer because of how hard it was. Trilla was so goddamn difficult for me that I had an entire clip titled "Still Fighting Trilla" that's 9 gigabytes in size because of how long it took to defeat this woman. I was literally scared of my files corrupting while fighting this beast of a woman. It's like all the 20 plus hours I put into this game were all for nothing because I genuinely had no clue what to do. Trilla's moves could kill me in like 2 or 3 hits. I was baffled, straight up bamboozled. This little ground pound move she does, oh my god. It was a probe that touched my rectum an incredible amount of times. Like she would do it at the worst moments. Like at the moments there was no way in hell I could survive it. You guys, I literally invited my girlfriend on Discord to watch me and try to beat this girl. Because I just needed someone to watch me, I needed someone to talk to. I told you that in the previous game, goth girls are powerful. I mean, clearly I wasn't lying. A subscribe and a like would be greatly appreciated as this fight penetrated me in every way imaginable. I mean, she broke me financially, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But I am undead color, which means I am dumb enough to push myself through this, and I did. That last sliver of health she had, oh my god, it was the first time I got to this little bit of health. But as I kept trying to push on, it felt like I would never lower it. As you can see, I was playing very carefully though. And then boom, I saw the opening and I got her. Next thing you know, all I heard was heavy breathing. A breathing you could not mistake for anyone else's. a breathing so powerful that it sent me into a state of shock. It was none other than Darth Vader. When I saw him, I kid you not, I nearly broke down crying because I knew I could not handle another boss fight after what I just went through, especially with a man who was like every 8-year-old's costume for Halloween. I even paused the game, as you can see here, because I was not ready. My heart was racing at the sight of him, but I calmed myself down, wiped the tears off my face, and changed into a clear pair of underwear. I unpaused the game, and thankfully, this wasn't a boss fight. All I had to do was run away from him. Honestly, I was relieved. I enjoyed the crap out of this part, mostly because I was listening to music, and the beat matched up with him ripping the fortress to pieces. So I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hype. But yeah, no, Darth Vader was no joke. The only way I escaped was because Darth Vader had no choice but to use the Force to save himself. In the end though, this was all for nothing, since Cal ended up destroying the holocron and trusted the young Force users' lives to the Force instead of himself. So, the end, I guess. Thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help me out a lot. Leave a like or a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.